Hello and welcome to Sunday Artist Talk. My name is Lois Stone and I will be your host. I'm also an abstract artist and owner of Stone Art Supply, an online art supply store. Thank you for joining our debut show. Today, we are going to be talking with two emerging artists in Chicago, Nailah S. and Neeyah Muhammad. Thank you for joining us, ladies, and thank you for being my first guest.
Hi.
So we're going to dive right into it and talk about your artwork and what inspires you. How did you even get started making art? Who would like to start?
Okay, I guess I'll start. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me. What inspired me? Let me start from the beginning. So, like you said, my name is Nailah S. Chicago, South Side, born and raised. I always like to include that when I talk about, who I am and what I am and this whole art thing that I do, because that is a major component of what inspired me. Um, just like with anybody else that's following their passion, a lot of their growing up and their rearing tends to play a part in the influence of the product and whatever it is that they put out there. Yeah, like I said, Chicago, South Side, born and raised. Art has always been a part of my life. It has always been my passion. I believe I started painting and drawing when I was about 5 years old. I won't say how old I am now, but I do have a few decades in the game.
Okay.
Started my first art classes at the Southside Community Arts Center at 5 years old. In my teens, I took art classes with Gallery 37. I did an apprenticeship with Gallery 37 for a couple of summers. I also took advanced drawing and painting art classes with Gallery 37 in my later teens. Majored in that in college at Tennessee State University. And then I transferred back here to Chicago at the International Academy of Design and Technology. From there, I have just been kind of diving into it, really trying to hone my craft and figure out where I want to take my art. And all the while, just kind of formulating my own thing. I'm kind of getting known for what I call my signature lash. Let me stand up a little bit. That is that right there.
Okay.
So when you see that, and that's kind of becoming my thing, my hashtag signature lash. You'll find that a lot recurring in many of my pieces.
Yeah.
So
Great. Thank you
yeah,
so much. All right.
thank you.
Neeyah?
All right, hi you guys. My name is Neeyah Muhammad. I'm an interdisciplinary fine artist based in Chicago. Born and raised in Chicago, like my good sis. Okay, South Side. But yes, as far as my art practice, I've really been painting, drawing, working with my hands for as long as I can remember. My mom always told me that I started at like two, and I just would scribble little faces, and she would be like, "Man, like those faces have a lot of expression and emotion." And from then, I would do different, I guess, collage works or work with found material. And I'm a Gallery 37 kid as well, so I did skateboard and mural art at Gallery 37. And then I also went to Harold Washington Library downtown, and I learned screen printing and did apprenticeships there as well. So I did Gallery 37 that throughout high school. And then in college, I went to University of Illinois at Chicago, got my BFA, put together my first thesis show with my cohort. And really, that was just an experience in itself. Some of the works behind me were shown in that thesis show.
Mm.
So as far as the practice itself, I really look at my arts practice as a spiritual practice as well. So it's all about going within. It's all about connecting, with I guess that elder within, the ancestors. It's all about trying to put to words the undescribable and the unnameable from, I guess, my standpoint. So I focus on topics such as like sub-personhood, and really come from my, that materiality as a Black woman, while focusing on the materiality of the pigment itself, and thinking about objects and their histories and how that kind of, I guess, can be influenced through meditation and really your intention through, that practice. So yeah, that's kind of like a brief description of it. One of the motifs that pops up throughout my work is the phrase "I am." So, but I specifically started with "I am fed up." So as I noticed over the years, that fed up part, it kind of dissolved away, and I would end up with the phrase "I am," and you can see that like in that painting in the background. And it came to a point where it popped up on a couple of T-shirts that I made as well. So when
Mm.
people think of my work, they think of that phrase "I am fed up" or "I am" as well. So I'm loving it. I'm loving the energy here.
Hey, well, it
Yes.
sounds like you all are in sync. I mean, you all are kind of inspired by the same things. I
Mhm.
mean, my next question it would be, Nailah, in your website, I was reading that you are inspired by spiritual awareness, connection to the heritage, and female empowerment. You know,
Yes.
which one of those would you say resonates the most in your artwork?
I would say the the female empowerment. I tend to focus a lot on the female face. Um, I started out, yeah, like drawing faces was a big thing for me. Once I started taking classes, it was a portraiture was a major thing that I was focusing on. I never got away from that. So the face, the human form, the face in a stylized form of the face has always been a big thing, and it's usually female. I tend to paint from what I know.
Okay.
A lot of self portraits I've done, things like that. So I never really got away from that. So representation, that's a buzzword these days. Representation matters. So one of the things that I like to show is diversity, but diversity amongst us, amongst Black women. I like to show a different range of the hairstyles and skin complexions, shapes, sizes, just so that there's a level of representation in my artwork. But it's usually the female face, the female representation. I don't see myself really veering too far away from that. I get asked a lot, like, when you gonna make some stuff for the guys, and when you gonna, draw some men faces and stuff like that. And I'm like, I'm gonna get to that. It's interesting, but I always tend to circle back to that. With my signature lash, that actually came about because getting older, going into my teenage years, trying to experiment with makeup. I noticed that my eyelashes were super, super curly. And I felt like I couldn't do anything with them. I'm like, this mascara is getting too messy. Liquid liner is not my friend. I cannot do this. I can't put on any falsies. Like, I can't do what everybody else is doing because something's wrong with me. And it's always, when you get into that teenage angst, and sometimes those kind of feelings, they never go away, but that's something that you have to battle with, looking at yourself and learning to appreciate things about you that are different. because you aren't everybody else. You can't be everybody else. You can't look like everybody else. So I learned to embrace certain things about myself that once made me kind of insecure. And my lashes, as simple as it might sound, was one of those things. Uh, in college, learning fashion sketching, and fashion sketching figures are called croquis. So learning how to do croquis, which is like a stylized version of the human form, I started to make mine kind of look like me. Like I was always tall and lanky, little skinny bow leg person. So that's what my forms used to be. And my peers loved it. They were like, oh, that's dope. And it got me to thinking, like, let me, try to develop this and see where it goes. I never got away from that. That's something that I always circle back to. But it's a version, it's an artistic version of myself. It's seeing myself and me create a version of myself that I see from the inside. And, people tend to, they're feeling it. And I appreciate that, because it seems like, okay, and them feeling that artwork, which is a reflection of myself, then, it's like a validation to me, and that's just, I draw upon that.
Right on. Okay. Well, Neeyah, I was fascinated by your website, and you have to tell me, what does just an other seer mean? How did you come up with that phrasing and that? Yeah, I love it.
So really that phrasing, it came out the blue, to be very honest. As far as um it relates to the practice, right? I use painting, sculpture, really any medium or media that I can get my hands on to really, I guess, kind of portray that otherworldly realm that I seem to find myself in a lot, especially in terms of dreams and in terms of, just thinking about my own self as a person, that's deeply spiritual, and how I guess I transcend that within art. So that phrase, just an other seer or just another seer, it really goes deep into um, how I can take that agency back within my work. So, for example, I have a piece called "This Is My Right to Time and Space," and,
Yeah, I've
and
seen those.
it's really all about taking it back, like taking back that agency. And instead of, always being, the center of that focus, right? Because some of the things that I grapple with in my work is hyper visibility and then feeling invisible, right? Feeling not seen. And it's always a play on that, it's always a play on who is seeing who is the witness in the end. And I always found that to always be myself in the end, no matter when whatever it boiled down to, I was always able to sit in that seat of the witness and just really, be very conscious of what was going on around me. And, to a lot of people as a Black woman, that would be scary, somebody who is empowered in, being able to see things for what they really are, and then take such, abstract concepts and then make it into a concrete reality. That's I see it as a form of like transmutation, and really as a form of release, to get out all those emotions. And that's where a lot of my abstract work stems from. So like it comes from that, I guess, perception that I have of myself, and then also like that transcendent self that can't really be put into words, so that's definitely correlates to that just another seer name.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I love your website, both of you. You just really have so much there that is speaking exactly to what I was feeling when I was looking at your work. Let's see, what other questions did I have for you? Oh, how do you balance life and work? You know, I'm sure you may have an outside job, or I don't know if do you see art as being your full time, or how do you balance what you're inspired to do and then maybe have to go to work every day? Or do you?
Actually,
I don't know.
yeah, actually, thanks to the pandemic, I am unemployed right now. So I have actually, yeah, it's been a blessing. It has really been a blessing. I've been able to dedicate a lot of time into my craft, getting my website completed. Literally, okay, so I had been working on my website. And I use the term working loosely because, getting purchasing the domain and really putting that was like where it stopped. I got the domain. Okay, I'm gonna do this website. I'm gonna get it together, and that was that. I dedicated more time. I'm a single mom, so it was the mom life and it was the work life, and then that was my life. Wasn't really doing any more painting unless I would get booked to do like a paint and sip or an event of some sort. But as my birthday approached in June, Gemini's, whoop, I thought, what, my gift to myself would be to finally check that off my list and get my website completed. Because what good is saying, okay, I bought this domain and, I'm paying for certain services and I'm not dedicating the time into doing what I need to do for it. So as my birthday approached, I said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. So like I said, birthday coming up in the early part of June, literally at the end of May, the place where I worked got rioted, looted. They tried to burn it down.
Wow.
So found myself without a job, but also found myself with all the time in the world to dedicate to doing what I felt I needed to do for me. Because when you have that passion, if you're not making it happen and doing something, it's never going to sit right in your soul until you can get it done. So that's the blessing that actually came out of this, the pandemic and all the events that played out over the summer, is that I was able to complete the website, and I've had a lot of time to dedicate into completing more artworks for me. And in business, I've seen, an uptick in business and other projects have come to me that I really wasn't even, putting out there as doing, such as like logos. That's something that came to me, and yeah, I got time. I have nothing but time, so I do it.
Yeah.
I do that too.
Naima, do you have the same thing? I mean, it sounds like you have different money streams, and artists always need different streams of money, for their artwork. Neeyah, have you been able to capitalize on different streams of income through your artwork?
Yes, ma'am, most definitely. That's how Nailah said, as far as the pandemic, it was the big slowing down, it's a big time for introspection, for reflection, and to redirect, right? So I started my business in November of 2019 after I graduated. And really from there, it was just, being an entrepreneur, and that was like a full-time job, because before I was working, so I worked for a screen printing. But then as soon as like the pandemic started happening, that's when I noticed that my life was just organically transitioning, and I'm transitioning to entrepreneurship. So like how Nailah said, like I also do logos as well, and then I sell different prints of mine, of my different artworks, that I signed, and then I sell like hand dyed T-shirts and painted fabrics and hoodies as well. And and I just been noticing, like, the more time, the more effort that I put into it, like the more blessings start coming through for it. And really it's been a blessing to also just be able to just sit there and paint all day. It reminds me back when I was in college, spending 10, 15 hours at the easel, painting and just letting it all come out. and being able to actually create the schedule, and then, you know, also give yourself the compassion to take breaks, you know, and so really just continue in that, and, you know, just let it all out and let it be free. Is I feel like that's a really big blessing, and the pandemic has definitely been a big factor in that.
Yeah,
I'm
'cause
sure
you
a
can really
lot
get
of
your
people.
head space right. Because when your head space not right, people, I don't know, people can't understand. Like creatives understand that head space is everything. Because if this is like all jumbled up, clogged up, nothing is coming out of your hands. Like you can't put it out there when your head space is not right. So it has been a blessing.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I know a lot of people would love to be in your position because you're really doing what you want to do, passionate about your work, and passionate about doing it. You know, so at this point, you know, if you have something that's close by that we can see yours, maybe a piece of your work that's close by. Not Nia, your work behind you. Do you want to do a little close up of one of your pieces, or and Nailah,
Sure.
you have
And then
something to
Nia, go
show
ahead and showcase.
her?
I got, well, since that's been sitting there, should I get the I'm gonna get the
You
one
do
that's
whatever you
like
want. This
all
is
the
a
way
baby
up there
show,
as
so
well.
we gotta frame it however we want to. You know, you can do your thing.
Take this one
Oh
got a
yeah,
lot.
yeah. I was checking that out. Yes, yes, yes.
That's dope.
Yeah. So tell us about that piece.
So this one, oh, this was done in my freshman year of college, and it was in response to the Yik Yak posts that were basically threatening. It was on a college campus that somebody had posted on this anonymous app called Yik Yak, that the next person that the next black person that they saw, they was gonna shoot. And you know, I was literally fresh on my campus, PWI. So it really hit home to me because a lot of people were talking about it, how they did not feel safe on like at my specific school, and really, it was just a culmination of that. So I took a whole bunch of newspaper clippings. I shredded it up, I cut it up, and I took the screenshots of that Yik Yak post, and I put it onto this artwork, and then I put myself in the middle of it. And I just wanted to, I guess, comment on how I was feeling as far as like safety and that sense of like just, I don't know, just not feeling safe on campus, period. Like as a black woman, as a black person, as a black academic, that is really, you know, threatening for people to see us in these spaces with, you know, the level of knowledge and wisdom and understanding that we have. So that post came from Mizzou, and I was just feeling like, man, like, you know, that's in the Midwest, you know, and it's just such a, I don't know, it was just such a disheartening thing to be feeling. And that really colored how I moved throughout my whole entire like undergraduate experience. So I remember spending hours all night. I pulled an all-nighter on this one because I just knew that, you know, all of it had to be just let out. So there's a at the bottom right here, these are pages out of a book called The Bluest Eye. And really it was just, you know, juxtaposing that hatred that was all on the outside surrounding me versus that introspection that was happening within the piece itself. And, you know, it's kind of like a self-portrait of the introspection that was happening within me and my relationship to all that hatred that was going on around me. And so, yeah, I mean, you know, to this day, I go back to it,
It's
and
a very powerful piece.
crazy.
Very powerful piece.
It is.
Thank
Wow.
you.
That's
All right.
amazing. I want to
Nailah,
see
did you have
the
anything you
song.
want to share with us really quick?
Well, you know what? Let me go back and reference my T-shirt here. I think this,
Eyelash.
yeah, that, and there's a phrase and a vibe called yes. Okay, so
Oh, nice.
music. I'm a 80s baby. I'm a 90s kid. The music of that time, I feel like, is unbeatable. Like, so this is just my way of paying homage to A Tribe Called Quest, which is one of my favorite legendary iconic bands, and they had an iconic album cover that you would see all the time. And I just wanted to put my spin on that, putting in, like I said, there's the human form kind of face, feminine energy, plus the signature lash. And it's just my way of merging my musical hip hop influences to, what I do and my thing, what I do. A lot of my work kind of represents that. I have a section where it's dedicated to like musical muses, because that I get in that headspace, I get my mind right. I listen to music. I might put on Pandora, and I'll put on like a Tribe Called Quest radio, where you hear all the, original like hip hop underground legends from that time. And that's what, I end up creating. So, this is just one of those pieces. I have, quite a few. I want to do some more too, because the hits didn't stop from back then. So it's like I have so much more I want to, give a big ups to a few different artists.
All right. Well, that really dug into a little bit more about where you are and why you create and what you create. So thank you so much for that. All right. So I got a couple questions left that I want to throw at you, and they can be very brief. Give me a sentence of, if you could go back in time, what would you tell your younger self?
It's gonna be okay.
Okay.
It's gonna be okay. Believe it. You are enough. Those are daily affirmations that are so important. I have to keep telling myself, you are enough. You know what? Worry about yourself. You got it. Like you got it. Keep going.
Right on. Okay.
I tell myself that now. I have to tell myself, go back in time to me yesterday. Go back in time, an hour ago. Like I have to keep telling myself that. I wish I had somebody had told me, that earlier on. But no time like the present. So yes, keep going. You got it.
I like that. All right. Neeyah, what would you tell the younger Neeyah?
I would tell the younger Neeyah that don't beat yourself up, girl.
Ooh.
Like, have compassion and forgiveness for yourself. And ultimately, that everything has a divine timing, and, not to rush it, and to just, really hone into that present moment. Be okay with the now. Period.
Yeah. Yes.
That's
the one.
Okay.
Yeah, very good. I love it. Love it. Love it. Well, I want to thank you both for taking the time to talk to me today and doing this debut show for Sunday Artist Talk.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. This has really been great. And before we leave, I'm going to do a shameless plug. Okay. I'm going to do a shameless plug for if you get a chance to pick this book up. It's called The Sirens. And you talk about Southside Chicago. This is a book of poetry written by my son, Kelsey Stone. And it's at all the Southside neighborhoods, a poem about every neighborhood in Chicago, on the South Side and the West Side. And you can find it on Amazon, Blurb, it's probably a few other places he told me to mention. Blurb, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Apple, ebooks, iBooks, or whatever, you know. But yeah. And don't forget to shop at Stone Art Supply. Online art supply store, everything that Blick sells. Oh, probably shouldn't mention that.
No,
Right?
take note. Yeah.
Don't forget to shop at Stone Art Supply. All your art supply needs. And this month is free shipping on everything. Whatever you purchase, is free shipping. And we are going to do this again next month. So thank you again so much for joining me today. And we'll talk art again. And please put your information. Where can people find you? Where can people find your work or your website, Instagram?
Yep, they can find me at www.nailahsartistry. So that's NAILAHSARTISTRY.com. On Instagram at Nailah the Artist, and on Facebook, Nailah S Artistry and Event Services.
All right, Neeyah.
All right, so you can find me on Instagram at Neeyah M, at Neeyah M. You can find my art Instagram, Art by Neeyah. You can find me on Facebook, Neeyah Muhammad. You can find prints, limited edition prints of some of the paintings that you see in the background at www.6, like the number, revolution.com. And you can find my portfolio at www.justanotherseer.com.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. Let me know where your next show is, or if it's virtual or whatever, please let us know.
Yes, let me know. Neeyah, I'm a fan. I am a fan. You so dope, girl. Love you.
Thank you. I love you so much.
All right. Thank you, ladies.